Everybody, and welcome to our week number 4 Twitch live stream for my research methods class. See a bunch of you getting logged in and joining me here in the chat. So hello, good afternoon, I almost said good morning. I hope everybody is doing well. I'm looking forward to all the rain that is supposedly on its way to us. We will see. It's supposed to be a lot of rain tonight and then like over the next week. I'm always a little skeptical, thinking that maybe all that projected rain is just going to be like a drizzle. But there's so much of it that I have my fingers crossed and I'm definitely feeling hopeful. So anyway, I hope everyone is doing well. We kind of have a big week this week in terms of having our first exam. So I want to spend some time today talking about that. We'll talk about what we have going on this week. And I want to give you a little bit of feedback as well from last week. Oh, I also have like a special visitor. I'm making his on-screen debut. Look at this little kitty. So we adopted this little kitty, and he is so ridiculously tiny and cute, like 8 weeks old. I don't even know. We haven't named him yet. We're thinking like Chowder. He's like, don't hold me. I want to play. But he came near me, so I scooped him up. He loves to like dive bomb and attack my computer. So we'll see what happens. But he is so ridiculously tiny and cute. So we'll see. Right? We thought Chowder was kind of cute. I liked Pepper, Noodle. We have a couple of options, but none of my kids can agree. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But he's so cute. So fighting with all my other cats, but definitely adorable. Anyway, I had something I was thinking about, and then a cat came, totally distracted me. So let's go over to Canvas together here. And again, we are right here in week number 4. So I just want to give you just a few thoughts about week 3 really quickly. Last week we did have our first homework assignment that was due, and the homework and the discussion were kind of connected to each other. And several of you emailed, I guess there was an issue with like the library server, so I did accept a lot of like late homeworks from you as a result, right? It seemed like at least like 15 of you were affected by that. So I'm not sure what happened. I let them know. Hopefully they will fix that, but sorry that happened. It should be very easy to access articles on the library webpage. I'm being stalked here. On the library webpage, but for some reason it was giving people a very difficult time. So sorry about that, but those of you who finally got an article did a beautiful job of identifying the different sections. I enjoyed your little summaries, a lot of really fun and interesting topic choices. So nicely done on that. Thank you as well for kind of providing your thoughts in terms of checking in. We, this week, move on to week number 4. And so what I want to talk about for this week is we have kind of a different format for the lecture. So rather than necessarily having much to read in the book, you're just kind of reading through my lecture here and then my video. So what you'll see is we have 3 units on APA formatting, and in those weeks, we don't necessarily read from the textbook, but just kind of other things that I've gathered. So that's our topic for this week, APA formatting part 1. And what we'll focus on this week is kind of looking at what is APA and when do you use it, and what is plagiarism, and when do we cite and not cite. So we're kind of introducing it this week. And then in the next one, we'll look at some like in-text citations, and then we'll look at the references page. So we'll look at all the APA formatting kind of things a couple of weeks during this semester. So make sure you read the summary, a little bit about what APA formatting is. On the Beyond the Book page, APA style, what it is, when it's used, I found 2 kind of little videos, or a little video here that talks about the APA publication manual, which is a really handy book to have. And then a little bit down here about when to use sources, how to avoid plagiarism, when to cite sources, when don't you cite. I'm not sure why this image isn't showing up, but I'll look into that. But make sure you read through all of this. Watch the little video that's on here, since this is your reading for the week. So make sure you do work on that. And then finally, on the last page, you have your key terms and review. These are the terms you need to know related to APA style part 1 for that first exam that we have this week. So make sure you read through all of that. And then also, As usual, make sure that you watch the little lecture video that I made for you, kind of talking about all of those concepts and what APA formatting is. You might want to take notes. That'll be on the exam. And then we're going to put all that together with discussion number 4. So in discussion 4, like always, you have my, my instructions up here at the top. Don't forget that it's worth 15 points in total. And then here's my video giving you some more details and instructions. I'm getting scratched here. Hey. So what you're going to answer for this one, number 1, what is APA style? Explain and also explain when it's used. And then I want you to read through these little 3 scenarios. And for each one, decide, is it plagiarism and why or why not? So for each of the 3 scenarios, you're going to decide, is it plagiarism? And then kind of support that with what you learned in the reading from this week. So when you're ready, you'll hit reply, and then don't forget to, of course, reply to a classmate to get those points as well. And so that is the discussion for this week. And then we obviously have our first exam as well. So you'll have an exam every 4 weeks roughly. And the first one is this week. So I want to take some time to talk about that so you're feeling as good about it as you can. I know exams are really causing a lot of anxiety. So let's go through it together. And if you have any questions about the study guide or about the exam, you can always ask. This is a wonderful opportunity to do that. So the exam link is right here. And if you were to click on that, it'll take you directly to it. It's right here on Canvas. Everything's on Canvas. You'll see some reminders here. So there are 50 questions on the exam, and you have 60 minutes to complete it. So you have a little more than like a minute per question. Some of them are true, false. It's mainly multiple choice. So it's going to be, you know, relatively quick in that way. You get 1 attempt, so make sure that you are organized and ready before you begin. Now, what that means to me, organized and ready, means that you have good internet, right? You have a quiet place to take the exam. You have 60 minutes that you can take it. It also means to me that you don't wait till Sunday night. Right, so this is due by Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. But I would really recommend in general that you don't wait right up until the deadline. Especially this weekend, we have a lot of rain in the forecast. Sometimes when it rains like that, the internet goes out, the power goes out. So try and take it a little early if you can. But make sure that you have all those things in place. I would also really recommend that you study. So you can use your notes and your book on the exam. But if you're trying to look up every answer, you are going to run out of time. And that is a little bit purposeful. I want you to study like you would for an in-person test. And then you can use your notes in your book as like a reference point. But if you're trying to understand and look every question up, you're going to run out of time. And the exam will stop when you hit that 60-minute mark. So just be really mindful of the time as you're going through. You can always skip a question. Like if you don't know the answer, skip it and come back to it. But just make sure you're watching the clock. Leave yourself enough time. When you hit submit your exam or quiz, you will get a score instantly, and that will allow you to see how you did. So you won't have to wait for that, which is nice, but do study for the exam. Again, it's mainly multiple choice, true, false. Sometimes you'll have some matching questions, but there is a study guide that I put together for you that I would really recommend that you utilize. So what I do is I make the exam and then I go and make the study guide from it. So what you'll see is the study guide is basically every term or concept that you need to know on the exam without the questions. So if it's on the study guide, it will be on the test. If it's not on the study guide, you don't need to study it, you can let it go. So the first exam is on chapter 1. So make sure you know all of these terms from chapter 1. Chapter 2, part 1 and 2. So here's all the terms from part 1 and then part 2, and then the terms for APA formatting. And what you'll notice is that these terms are the ones that are on the last page of the lecture. So you can always study one unit at a time, and then I just put them all together here in the study guide. But if you know everything on here, you should be in really good shape. I will never trick you on an exam question. I want you all to do really well. If you all got A's, I'd be so excited. So no trick questions. Everything should be very straightforward. I've written all the exam questions myself, so it should very well connect to what we're covering. So if something seems a little confusing, make sure that you read it again. I know sometimes when we're anxious, it's hard to read things clearly. Someone asked, I thought Canvas now prevents us from going back on questions, or is that just an option that is set by the instructor? So I have the power to choose that. I did not block you from doing that. So what you could do is skip a question, and then you could always come back to it later if you have more time at the end. Yeah, of course. I'm glad you asked, right? I think as far as I know, that is an option that we can select, and it's not something that I have blocked. So you do have that ability on this exam. If for some reason it's different, let me know, but it should be that way. So I always like to share this, and since it's the first exam, I'll share it here with all of you. I am one of those like overachieving students who like wants to get 100% on everything. If I were taking this exam and it was my first exam in a class with an instructor that I hadn't had before, I would over prepare. Okay. And I always think it's better to over prepare for an exam than it is to under prepare. You don't want to be partway through the test and wish you had done more. You'd rather have that moment of like, oh, I studied a little too much. I can dial it back next time. So if it were me, what I would do is I would go through this study guide and I would type each one of these terms out in a document. And then I would review them and study them and make sure they all made sense to me. And then I'd have it in front of me during the exam. The sources of this information are threefold, right? So what you don't want to be doing is trying to find information during the test. It's going to eat up like valuable time. So let's say you get to parsimony and you can't remember if it was in the textbook or the lecture video. You're going to use a lot of time trying to find that, versus if you have defined these and written them out and you have it in front of you, it could just be a quick, easy reference. So that would be my one like suggestion to you, would be to kind of overstudy, complete the study guide, make sure that you know everything that's on there. And if you do, you should be in fantastic shape. And next exam, if you find that that was more than you needed to do, you could always do a little less, right? But usually people do quite well in these. Just always better when you don't know what to expect, to over prepare. And then again, don't forget the weather this weekend. It's not normally something we need to worry about, but we do have a lot of rain in the forecast. And sometimes that can affect like the internet and so on. Okay, so those are the big things for this week. Make sure you read the lecture, watch the videos in there. Watch the lecture video and take notes, pay attention. Don't forget discussion number 4 on that plagiarism and APA style. Exam number 1 with the study guide. I'll give you the extra credit in a moment here. And of course, I'll post a recording a little bit later once it's uploaded and downloaded. I do have a few reminders for you. And if you have any questions, this would be a wonderful time to ask them. Reminder number 1, I'm going to remind you every week, please take a moment to make sure that your Twitch subscription is still valid and active. As we hit week number 4 here, some of you are going to fall off. Like up here at the top, Catherine and Nicole, both of yours no longer have the little football cake next to them. So if you notice that, then you have to go back to my Twitch page and on that little drop-down menu, resubscribe for free because it's only good for 30 days. If you're watching this later as a recording, remember you can still get those extra credit points if you're subscribed. So just a quick reminder on that. The other reminder I have for you is, let me put this here in the chat. There will be no Twitch live stream next week on Wednesday, February 7th, due to it being a campus-wide flex day. So next Wednesday is a campus-wide flex day, which means I have classes and professional development stuff I have to attend, but you all do not. So there should be no classes or required materials that day. So what that means is we won't have a live stream. What I'll likely do is make a little video and post it just so that you do have some reminders in place. I don't want you to suffer because it's a flex day. So I'll probably make a little video sometime at the beginning of the week and then I'll post it, but we won't be meeting live on Wednesday. So just make sure that you remember that. I will put that in the calendar for our class as well and in the announcement. But I just wanted to let you know now. And then we'll pick up the following week and we can talk about everything then. All right. Are there any questions or thoughts or anything at all before I give you the extra credit question? I'll put this kitty down before he scratches me again. The little claws are so sharp. All my legs are like covered in little scratches everywhere. So while I'm waiting for you, let me give you the extra credit question. And if you think of anything, you can put it in the chat. So this is something kind of piggybacking off of what we're covering this week. This is the week number 4 Twitch extra credit question. What does APA stand for, and which edition are we currently using? So what does APA stand for, and which edition are we currently using? And you'll head back to Canvas to answer this. Since we're in week 4, you'll click on optional Twitch extra credit number 4 right here. And then up at the top, click on Start Assignment. And that brings up the text box where you can type your response. And then when you're ready, hit Submit, get your confetti burst, and ooh, little flames. I like that. That's fun. Reminds me of Elemental. Little flames, right? 2 points of extra credit. And again, remember, if you're watching this later, you can still do this as long as you're subscribed on Twitch. So I think that is everything that I had for this week. Are there any other questions about the exam, the study guide, anything at all related to this week or the exam? If there is, I will hang out for a little bit and I'm happy to answer it. If not, you're welcome to go and get started on everything for this week. Have a wonderful week. Enjoy the rain that is hopefully on its way. It's starting to get a little cloudier, so I'm hoping. And then I won't see you next week, but I will see you the following week for week number 6. So I'm going to minimize my video here just so I'm not staring at myself, but I will hang out for a little while. And if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Right. Thank you as well. Thank you all for joining me live. I know I can't see you, but I really appreciate your company. And again, I'm going to minimize this here. You too, have a wonderful week. I'm glad I got to share with you the little kitty. Thank you as well. Thank you so much. Okay, perfect. If I haven't already received it from you, Patricia, then please definitely do email that to me. I received quite a few, and I believe I updated the timing for everyone. If you go to start the exam and for some reason you don't have extended timing, please let me know and we'll get it taken care of, okay? But I think if it was sent to me, you should be all set for every exam that's remaining. Thank you. So sweet, but such sharp little claws.